Hello everyone and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. Today I will be talking about the WWE pay-per-view NXT War Games of 2020. And if you're a familiar wrestling fan like myself, you know this event happens every year. I believe it's been happening since about 2017, so I believe it's the third one. Correct me if I'm wrong. So let's get straight to it. Let's talk about it. Just so you know, there will be heavy spoilers ahead. I'll be talking about my thoughts and opinions on each match and stuff like that. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the first War Games match. Looks like it was, I believe it was Team Candice with Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, and Toni Storm. And then Team Shotzi consisted of Black Car, Ember Moon, Ripley, and Io Shirai. Overall, I thought this was a great opening to the match. Looks like according to Wikipedia, it was about 35 minutes and 22 seconds. A great opening War Games match. These women just really stole the show, and at times, in my opinion, I was reading some tweets. Me and my wife were reading some tweets on Twitter while we were watching the event. The women at times, and more than often, outshow the men, and they can even compete with. They're just as good as the men, in my opinion. If you guys don't think that, there's something wrong, really, because the women are there's really some really great moments. I think, really, to be honest, kind of the MVP of this match, and someone I really didn't expect, and kind of a rising star in NXT, is definitely Raquel Gonzalez. Even though she lost that match against Rhea Ripley back at Halloween Havoc, I really think that she's outshowed herself, really. Excuse me, I'm just looking at information on my phone and stuff. But anyways, I really think she's just outshone, really exceeded my expectations. I didn't know how far she was going to go, but especially getting that pin over Io Shirai was something I really didn't expect. It was a clean pin. Yes, she sort of, one-arm powerbombed him right, and that was a beautiful powerbomb. Just powerbombed him right through that ladder, and that was something I didn't expect her to get that kind of clean pin. And it really makes me look forward to the future. Is Gonzalez a future? Definitely, in my opinion, she deserves an opportunity because of that. Anytime you pin the champion, a clean pin like that, 1, 2, 3, you definitely deserve an opportunity. And it makes me think maybe in the future this could be a potential NXT Women's Champion. You never know where it's going to go. Another great moment is when Io Shirai, obviously, the match took a little bit to start, and she gets up there, puts the trash can over her head, jumps off the cage, lands on all the other women competitors in the ring. Another great moment. There were several great moments in this match. I think Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, even though they don't really need each other, I think they can both stand alone as separate stars. They really do work well together. And I was even thinking during this match, it would be really cool to see these women go for the women's tag team titles over on SmackDown and Raw. And I know every once in a while they bring them over to NXT, and it's been a while. I think they brought them over last time. Sasha and Banks and Bayley held the titles. It'd be cool to see, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler come over, and maybe these two be a future contenders for that. I think that'd be kind of neat. But overall, Team Candice, Team Shotzi, some great moments overall. Lots of Io Shirai, I think, does at least 2 or 3 moonsaults in the match. So there's some great moments. 5 out of 5 for me. Really enjoyed that one. The second match was between Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. It was the regular singles match. It clocked in at about 16 minutes and 46 seconds. This was another. I seen someone on Twitter say it was kind of and they were complimenting. This was a compliment, so don't take this the wrong way. But they said it was like a stiff, hard-working match, and I would definitely have to agree with that sentiment. It was definitely stiff, hard-hitting. That nice knee, or if you want to go AEW style, that nice kind of sort of Kenny Omega style V-trigger that Ciampa gives to Thatcher towards the end, that busts his knee, uses his knee to bust the ear wide open of Timothy Thatcher, the wrestler himself. And it's just some great submission moves in there, and then it really kind of builds into the effect of the match when Thatcher's got the blood towards his teeth and his lips and his chest, just in his tights off, of course. And it was just some really great moments in there, just a hard-hitting match. I would definitely would sign me up for round 2 of this, just in a couple weeks. Don't have to wait till a pay-per-view. Go ahead and just have these guys fight again, maybe in, I'd say maybe 2-3 weeks' time, and let these guys have a round 2, and maybe Timothy Thatcher can pick up the win. I will say, Ciampa being a former NXT champion doesn't really need the win as much as Thatcher does. I definitely think Thatcher is a little overdue for a push. And maybe if you think about it, he is a former tag team champion. It may have been because of COVID and that whole thing going on, and Pete Dunne being in the UK not being able to compete. But Thatcher and Riddle did hold the titles for a little bit, so that's one way to think about it. But overall, just a nice sort of, hard hitting slobber knocker between Ciampa and Thatcher themselves. The next one was a strap match between Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes. It clocked in about 12 minutes and 52 seconds, according to my sources here. And this was a kind of more of a fun match. I really think Grimes, to be honest, I think Grimes kind of stole the show on this one. He had a lot of nice spots in there. But Lumis, overall, Lumis picked up the win. This was a nice, fun match between the two of them. There was lots of moments, it started off with Grimes saying they had to use his strap, and then eventually two straps ended up being brought in. But they both had some nice spots, and like I said, Lumis, it makes sense to me that Lumis would be the winner of this one. These are another couple of guys that I could see just in a couple of months' time, in my opinion at least. And if you think about it, just a couple of months back before Lumis's injury, these, they were in or at least one of them at least, was in a ladder match, with the Fatal 5-Way looking to get that main title. So I definitely think these two are a little long overdue for maybe an NXT North American title deal. I think it'd be really cool to see these guys get that push that they deserve, because Grimes and Lumis, I don't mind the Halloween Havoc feud. It's really fun. It's really neat. The strap match was cool. But let's see these guys get pushed up to the top, because they both really deserve it. The fourth match of the night was Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest and Leon Ruff. It was a triple threat match for the NXT North American Championship, and it clocked in at about 17 minutes and 28 seconds, according to my sources. Leon Ruff was the champion, obviously, defending against Gargano and Priest, and this was another nice triple threat, the only triple threat match on the card, but this was another nice match to add to this card. I liked how it was, obviously, being a title match. It makes sense that it was later on the card. They all had their nice spots in there. You got several bicycle or heel kicks, or whatever you want to call it, from Priest. He had his nice couple. He didn't ever get his reckoning in. He almost got his the finisher of the reckoning in, but he didn't ever quite get it. In the end, we ended up having Gargano hit his finisher off the middle rope with a one final beat, as he calls it, where he gives him kind of that swinging DDT on the top of their head that he did to Leon Ruff. I will say, in my opinion, and sort of my wife shared the sentiment with me also, is that we both, and I've seen several people on Twitter and even a friend of mine kind of agreed with me that Leon Ruff kind of needed and deserved this win in order to show that he was a legitimate competitor, in order to show that he wasn't a joke and it wasn't just a fluke that he got that title a couple of weeks ago. And he had the title for what? Over 3 weeks now, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. He needed this win to show that he is a legitimate competitor. He can compete with the likes of Priest. He can compete with the likes of Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling, But at the end, I guess the way they're going with the story is to show that now Gargano is now 3-time NXT North American Champion, and maybe it was just a fluke that Leon Ruff got the title. But either way, I think all three competitors really able to outshow their skill. I think that the moment where Ruff got carted out of the arena by the refs, and then he came back and had a nice couple spots, I thought that worked real well. But still, I wanted Leon Ruff to win and let him have a couple months title reign, and then maybe somebody else get it in the future. But I wanted him to see him get just a little bit longer of a run, because I think he deserves it, and it was a nice surprise. And I don't know, it would be kind of unexpected, in today's era of wrestling, for a no-name like that of Leon Ruff. And you really can't call him a no-name now, since he's former NXT North American Champion, to get a run like that. Solid match overall, though. I don't mind Gargano winning, because he is a pretty good wrestler. More than a pretty good. He's a great wrestler. And then our main event of the night was Undisputed Era, which obviously consists of Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and Roderick Strong. And then they went on against Team McAfee, or Full Brand, whatever you want to call themselves, the best four-man faction in all of wrestling, they like to call themselves recently. Obviously, Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, and the tag team champions of Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. And this match clocked in at about 45 minutes and 1 second. And it felt longer than that, which I didn't mind. I thought it was a great match. But this one, as far as if we're looking at match of the night, I thought they were all really good matches. If we're looking just a straight wrestling match without like a strap and weapons and stuff like that, and obviously it was the only match on the card that didn't have either weapons or a title in the picture, well, I'm probably going to be looking at the singles match between Ciampa and Thatcher, because that was just kind of a stiff wrestling match, like I said earlier. If you're looking at just straight wrestling, I think that Thatcher and Ciampa really stole the show. But if you're looking at sort of like a feud-wise, what match steals the show, it would definitely be the main event between Undisputed Era and Team McAfee. And like I said, I don't really know if Team McAfee has I guess they call themselves For the Brand. I don't know what they call themselves. And just a quick note, I really like the hoodie. The whole "it's great to be great and must suck to suck." It's those corny cliches I think that really make T McAfee's character, or Pat McAfee's character, really kind of steal the show and really make him just seem such like a big douchebag, just a big scumbag. But there were some great spots in here. Once again, Pat McAfee finds several ways to steal the show, doing the kind of the backflip moonsault he does, and putting Era through the table. Then he comes off looking like Jeff Hardy, doing kind of the senton off the top of the cage. Another big moment I did not expect. You didn't see him climb up there. Excuse me. You didn't see him climb up there because the camera's off focus, doesn't show it, and then all of a sudden it zooms in when he's up there. So some great moments. I kind of thought, I will say, it was a little unexpected because I thought he's pulling on the table and he's got one for O'Reilly, Strong, and Fish, and Cole. So I thought, okay, I see what's going to happen here. They're going to put each one of the Era through the table, and then they're wearing the red, so maybe they're going to go to Raw because of their attire and stuff, and they're going to lose the match. These guys are the best man for. They're really going to let this thing run. They're For the Brand. They're going to let these guys run, do their thing. Era's going to take a loss. Era's going over to maybe Raw or SmackDown, like I said, Raw. And I don't really call it main roster because I consider NXT, Raw, and SmackDown on the same level now. They're all kind of the same, because yes, one's developmental and yes, one's not developmental. But really, they're all the same channel, so I don't call one better than the other. Viewers aside, that's just my own personal opinion. But once again, a really great match. Like I said, I really thought Team McAfee was going to win. I thought they were going to put these guys over the top to show that these guys aren't jokes. They're not messing around. It's not just because of McAfee that these guys won the belts. It's no longer the Undisputed Era's time. It's not their era anymore. They've had their fun. They've had their, 4, 5, 6 years in the company, and now it's time to let a new faction arrive. But letting Undisputed Era win makes me think that, okay, these guys are the tag team champions, but at the end of the day, Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong, these guys are the 4 pillars of NXT. They are the faces, or the heels, as I guess you could say. These guys are the ones that are on all the posters. These guys obviously deserve the win. And it also makes me think that because if you looked at the end of the match with Kyle O'Reilly, and he got the pin over the tag team champions, it makes you think, okay, yes, these guys have had the belts, 3 times now? But any time, in my opinion, any time, and this is normally a standard wrestling rule, at least with most companies, or any company really, when a wrestler gets a pin over a champion, same thing with Raquel Gonzalez earlier, she deserves an opportunity, and I think the Undisputed Era definitely deserves an opportunity after pinning the tag team champions. Now, whether or not they need to win is another story, because Oni and Danny are long overdue. Once again, I think 2 underrated wrestlers, long overdue for a title run, and I don't necessarily even think they need a guy like Pat McAfee to be with them. I didn't think they needed the heel turn against Fandango and Tyler Breeze, but hey, I certainly didn't mind it. It was definitely interesting. Pat McAfee can definitely be the kind of guy that just makes you hate him. Overall, last thoughts and opinions on the... There's nothing I really didn't like about the pay-per-view. I really enjoyed everything as a whole. I thought all 5 matches were great. Yeah, there's certain people I thought that should have won. They got that would give them the better push, like I was talking about with Timothy Thatcher, or maybe even a surprise and have McAfee's team win. Just and then Leon Ruff and stuff. And just because the people that I didn't want to win doesn't mean that it wasn't a good pay-per-view. But overall, another great War Games to add to the classic matches we've had over the year, where Ricochet, keeps on spinning and spinning, and and people like to joke around that he's still spinning, and lands on them, and the great moments we've had with the Viking Raiders and stuff like that. You had Ciampa, slam Cole last year through the table, and you've had some great moments during NXT War Games, and I think that this one definitely, for years to come, will be one to remember. So once again, thanks for watching another video by Centipede Geek. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe below.